Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hello to everybody who's watching this live and who's watching the recording. So we have 5 women, 4 countries, and many decades of experience right here, right now, from all around the globe. So let's do a little quick introduction with the 5 of us. We are, first of all, talking about International Women's Day, and we'll be specifically going through about what we're talking about. But why don't we, Regina, can you introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Regina. I am an American Californian in New Zealand, and I do content marketing strategy, but I'll say a little bit about that later. Thanks for having me here, Di.
Pleasure, Regina. I love having you here. And as Regina said, actually, before we press the recording, use the chat. If you've got any questions, you've got any comments, you've got any main things that like stick in your brain, like put it in the chat for everybody and share it with us. Hilda, tell us about you.
Well, I was born in the beautiful Caribbean island of Puerto Rico, and I live now in Los Angeles, California. I'm a medical doctor, and I help people achieve their goals, restore their metabolism, and just be ready to take life on.
Awesome. I love you, Hilda. Thank you for being here. Hamsa.
Thank you for having me.
Hamsa.
Hi, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. As Di said, it's 5 a.m. here in Bahrain. And I am a Bahraini national, and I am living in my beautiful country, Bahrain. I hope all of you visit it, inshallah, from Puerto Rico, from Australia, from USA, from all around the world. So it will be really interesting to have you all here in this part of the world, in the Middle East. So what do? I'm a life coach, and I'm an organizational coach, and I love empowering individuals to thrive, to find their life purpose, and to keep growing in their lives. So I've been doing this since the past 5 to 6 years. And previous to that, I have almost 20 years of working experience in different fields. But now my main focus is life coaching and organizational coaching. And I'm very pleased to be here with all of you.
I'm so thrilled to have you here, Hamsa.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm really especially thrilled to have you here because it's 5 a.m. in the morning and you're looking absolutely gorgeous.
I'm going to sleep immediately after this.
Jody Harmon, can you chime in and tell us who you are, where you're from?
My name is Jody Harmon, and I am from the Central Valley of California. And I help couples stay happily married, stay happy in their relationships by helping them recreate the love that they had when they first got married or first started their relationship, and just help them carry that throughout the rest of their lives, whether they're on the brink of divorce or just need to tune things up and keep things loving, then that's what I do to help them.
Fantastic, and thank you very much. And you're actually in a hotel room at the minute, aren't you? So you're on your phone.
I am, yes.
So we may see you and we may not see you. I don't see you on my screen. And remember, we are actually on the internet. So just be patient. If something goes wrong or the sound goes down a little tiny bit or somebody's screen goes off, if you get locked out, go back in. You can just use the same link to go back in again. So just take a deep breath and let's enjoy each other and just acknowledge that, yes, we are on the internet and things just don't go as perfect as we think they might. So actually, I want to really thank Ada by putting this together. And you're not going to see Ada today because she's very much behind the scenes. But when Ada said to me, do you want to do an International Women's Day event? I go, well, gee, I'm speaking in Tokyo in the same week. Do you think we can pull it off? So here we are. And so I really want to thank the 5 of us for being patient with each other. It's been a interesting week because there's been not a lot of communication, which of course is unusual for females, but we've pulled this off and everybody, I think, here is what we're going to be sharing today. So thank you very much for being patient with me, Kathleen, and Ada for her vision in this, and for helping also by pulling a lot of the logistics together. So let's start, shall we? So really, what is International Women's Day? And I just feel as if I want to give some credit to International Women's Day.
I think they're not hearing you well.
Nobody's hearing me?
Yes, so someone was saying that it was the sound is a bit faint.
So Hilda, Rosina, are you hearing me?
Hi, this is Jody. I think it would be best if when whoever is not speaking, if you can just mute yourself, and then when it's your turn to speak, then you can unmute. And that would just solve a lot of the problems.
Yes.
Okay, so now can you hear me? Awesome.
You are still a little bit faint, but you are much better. So if everyone can just stay muted until you speak, that would be awesome.
Everybody can still hear me? Awesome. Thank you. What cooperation does, hey? And people speaking up when we need to speak up. So I just felt that I wanted to give a little tiny 1-minute brief as to International Women's Day and what I read on the website. So International Women's Day is celebrated in government places, government institutions, and also through charities. It's celebrated in classrooms, women and children and girls. And it's also celebrated in forums like this all over the world, not only for the particular day of International Women's Day, but all through March. And it's also spoken about and celebrated in many, many schools across the world. And also many families, especially this year, I think because this year it's becoming to get a tipping point. Yes, there is a ask and a step toward the main theme for this year, pressing for progress. It's a common, not so common, but it's a conversation that families are having over the dinner table as to equality and women. And oh gosh, it's International Women's Day. Somebody's still unmuted. Can someone just unmute themselves? Mute them. I can hear somebody's sound. I'm going to go through this list. Excuse me just for 1 second. Just take her out. Beautiful. Okay. So on a global aspect, we are part of International Women's Day by just being here and having this conversation. The purpose behind this is I would like the 5 of us to share some of our opinions, some of our findings around what is it, how we thrive, what are our perceptions around what we think is thriving. Who would like? I'm not going to ask specifically, but who'd like to go first? Hamsa, there you go. What is thriving to you, Hamsa?
Okay, let's see the 5 a.m. thriving. The definition of thriving. Okay, to me, Di, thriving, I think it kind of changes with time. It changes like, I'll tell you what is thriving for me at this stage, okay? Thriving for me at this stage is being up to date with whatever is required to keep us moving forward. Like, for example, what's happening nowadays, we are moving, the world, the universe, everything is moving very, very fast, and there are a lot of challenges. So I've learned to learn whatever I need now at this stage, and from the past experience, I've put something on my strategy. Do you want me to speak about like my strategy to say what is my strategy for thriving, Di?
Not yet. If you can, so your thought around thriving in 2018 and in this era is being able to keep up with what's happening in this era.
Absolutely. I think it's more of maintaining. It's maintaining my energy, maintaining who I am, not to be drifted, with the outside world, with the distractions. This is exactly what's going to make me thrive, what's going to make me move. And most importantly, it's not only moving, it is moving in what state of being do I want to move. Okay? Yeah, so it's this for me.
I would highly recommend that while you're listening to each other, And while we're listening to people speak, is use your pen and paper and physically write down some keywords, because I know that the 5 of us want you as a listener and a replayer to take away whatever you can from this hour and 15 minutes. So I really appreciate that. Those distinctions from you, Hamsa, about keeping up to speed, but also not doing it in a way that is sort of going along with the sheep, right?
Definitely, yes. That's why I mentioned like the state of being is very, very important. Like there has to be perseverance. There have to be a lot of things that we have to do and be. We don't have to forget that we have to be, and not only just continue do and just be followers to whatever is happening in the world nowadays. That's gonna make us tired and not able to continue.
Yes, yes. Regina, can you tell us what it means to thrive or not thrive? What's your perception?
Well, I think to thrive is to continuously be evolving, to feel like you're growing and you're developing. I do feel like we're not always going to be feeling like we're thriving. So it's really being able to take a step back and think about, what do I need to do next to be able to make me feel like I'm thriving and growing? And just like Hamsa said, just knowing where you're going, knowing what thriving actually means to you, and living up to it, just growing. Yeah.
Living up to it. I love that what came out of your mouth then. Jody, can you share with us what it is for you when you think of the word thrive?
Yeah, so a couple things come to my mind when I think about thriving. I know, like, when a baby is born and they do like this, it's called an APGAR test here in the United States. I don't know what they call it everywhere else, but they do this APGAR test, and this APGAR test rates the baby on how, if they're awake and alert and what their skin looks like, and their skin, and their alertness and their eyes and their just like everything about the entire body and the entire system. And so they use that APGAR then as the child starts developing throughout the toddler years to then decide if the child is thriving. And that means, are they growing? Are they learning? Are they developing the way that they normally should? And so as you think about thriving, like, your body and your mind and your person, especially as a woman, like, you have these natural attributes about you. And are you thriving with your normal attributes? And if you are learning something new, are you thriving and striving to do that? And so I think that's what thriving to me means. And then the other aspect of thriving, at least, in my aspect of trying to put my head around what this all means, is think about, like, if you're outside and you're in your garden, right? And the first thing you have to do is to get the soil ready. You have to till the soil, you have to put some fertilizer in it, you have to get it ready to plant, and then you can put the seeds in it. But then you can't just do that and leave it. You actually have to go and water it and continue to feed it, and it has to get sunlight, and it has to have the normal attributes of the environment, which is the air and the sunlight and the water and the nourishment. And then what do you then harvest from the garden is, the fruits of your labor of whatever you've planted. And so as you're thinking about thriving, you start out little, as these little seedlings, and you just grow and thrive from that. So those are my two aspects of thriving as a baby, and then also if you're gardening.
Interesting. Well, I like the visuals on the gardening, as I'm a gardener. And Hilda, can you tell us from your point of view what is it for you?
Well, I am going to think about this year particularly. And thriving this year for me is a reevaluation of life, in the sense that there is so much that's being thrown at us from every angle. And for me, thriving really means staying true to myself, staying true to my principles, walking the walk, not just talking it, and continuing to move forward, even if it is one step at a time, and even if I'm scared. To just go ahead and take the next step, even if I'm scared or not sure, or maybe I don't feel 100% adequate. And especially because I'm constantly taking care of other people with what I do, for this year particularly, my definition of thriving is going to be that I'm walking my talk, and that I'm being true to myself and who I really want to be, because we have to start thinking about the next 10 years, not just now, right? Where do we want to be the next 10 years? It's so easy when we're teenagers to be thinking, okay, this is what we want to go. But we're all in sort of these middle age years, or, 35 to 55. I'm assuming the majority of the people here are within those age groups. And we have to start thinking, okay, what is my vision? And what am I going to keep doing to keep that vision and not lose sight of who I am and my purpose?
I can relate to everything you're saying, and I could relate to what everybody said. And my view on thrive is remembering that being perfect is a myth. And I think that's really what everybody's saying here. It's like, how can we be who we are and allow ourselves to evolve at the same time and take one tiny little step? And sometimes I feel like I'm taking steps backwards, and that's okay, because life is not in a straight line. So, I actually think that we're all saying the exact same thing. And maybe that's why we are actually being able to move forward, because we have that belief, but also the ability to be able to, either whether we're doing it by ourselves, which I think is actually impossible, we actually have to be having people alongside us. This forum would not have come together if we hadn't all pitched in and done our little bit. Our listeners would not be here listening if they hadn't have come. So we wouldn't have a forum. And we did that little tiny chunk by chunk, and there were mistakes, and there may be still mistakes. Nothing is perfect. So that's my definition on thriving, is like reminding myself that I do not have to be perfect, and don't even try that. And actually that perfect word is a myth. So I think actually I did make up a slide here, because some of these points, if you want to write these down, is practice what you teach, which comes from Hilda. That's her main thrust of what thriving is to her. And she's going to go into some more very clear distinctions and or understanding of what that is. And Jody said, well, no, are you really worthy of love? And she actually gave you already some strategies and a metaphor. And Regina's going to be talking about, and she already gave a few hints of, you actually just need one. Well, one of what? She's going to tell you in her area of expertise. My message around thriving was perfectionism is a myth. And I'm going to share with you 3 steps that I know are proven from my methodology. And Hamsa, she spoke a lot about being and doing. So Hamsa, I can't wait to hear about, those strategies that that are proven and you want to share. So write those down with a note, with a pen and paper, and write the key words down as we go through and we talk about it. So let's go. Who's first? Because none of the girls know who's first. Hilda comes out of the bag. So Hilda, I'm really excited. What is working for women and men. I'm not going to exclude men here, because we actually have men on the call. What are your 3 strategies, your 3 points that you think that if people put these 3 points, 3 activities into their life today, it would actually make a difference?
Well, so the 3 points that I like to talk that relate to this thriving concept is the first of all is a purpose, second, passion, and third, perseverance. And what's really interesting in the work that I do is that most people that come to see me, they're coming because either they are having fatigue, they're having weight gain, they're having inflammation, they're having sleep issues, they're unable to lose the weight, they've lost a sense of who they are. And in my field, the concept usually is to look for a disease and a diagnosis and a treatment. And I find that it's so important to set the mindset right before you start trying to look for your health. Because many times when people have lost their sense of who they are, because they're not feeling well, right? Because lack of health tends to hold us back. So when people have lost that sense of who they are, often they have lost their sense of purpose. And some people never even have found their sense of purpose to begin with. So I find that it's really, really important to get reconnected with the why. Why is that we want to pursue health? Why is health so important? And the main reason in my mind that health is so important is because it's not really for us. It's for us to use it to give to other people. It's for us to find our sense of purpose and really be in this world doing something that's meaningful. So I find that that's really an interesting part, and how we can think about that when we've lost hope because maybe we haven't been feeling well, is really start regaining our hope, knowing that there's going to be solutions. And the problem for people is they get stuck in a pattern and they don't know there's going to be solutions. And then also in my personal life, I wouldn't be able to stay connected to that sense of purpose if I was not connected to my faith. So I find that it's really important, at least for me personally, to have that connection with my my sense of faith and stay aligned with that, right? Because if we're disaligned with our spiritual life, then we're not going to be able to be good for other people. So point number 2, now that we've gotten that sense of purpose and that we know the why that we're going to go ahead and pursue our health, then it is the fact that we need some passion instilled in that, right? Because most people don't get to achieve their goals because they lose steam. They're all excited at the beginning of the year. Everybody has their health goals, but then they lose steam. So then we have to infuse that with passion, which that word thrive to me goes aligned with that word passion, right? They really go together. If you have the desire, the willingness, the teachability, and you find that passion, and that's what I try to do a lot, is really be more of an educator to people, to instill that passion in them, that they're going to stay with it, that there's not going to be, sort of quitting is not an option. You can go at your own speed, but quitting is not an option. And then, again, that requires a sense, if you're going to stay with your passion, for me, right, is what I do. I happen to love the work that I do. There comes that word that comes to mind again, is to be aligned. Because the only way that I can remain loving what I do is to remain aligned with, again, with the sense of purpose that we just talked about. And then to me, that just makes it easy. Then it makes whatever we choose to do in life easy, because we just fall in love with it. So hopefully this is making sense to everybody that's listening out there. It's like a daisy chain effect for me. You know, one leads to the other, that leads to the other, that leads to the other. And then, then there comes the sense, the point number 3, that really has to do with perseverance. Because life is not about walking, a walk in the roses all the time. So we have to have a sense of perseverance, that if, like you were saying earlier, Dee, you sometimes feel like you're doing 3 steps forward and 2 steps backwards, right? So we have to keep that sense of perseverance, that we're going to keep moving forward, even if it's 1 step at a time, because our eyes are really on the goal. And I know that this may sound like interesting to some of you, coming from the fact that I'm a physician, but this is exactly how I approach helping people restore their health. Because it's so important that once you've gotten to this stage where you get the hope that you're going to be able to get rid of the fatigue and the weight gain and the inflammation and your sleeping problems and get to the root cause, then now you have the steps and the passion to get there, and that you're going to have a system to be able to persevere. And what I said earlier before is persevere even when we're scared. Because sometimes I really think that we could be our worst enemies when it comes to not following an opportunity or not following a dream just because we listen to the scare part. To me, the scare part, anytime I have to make a decision, I don't want to make decisions coming from a position of fear. No, that's not going to be the right decision. If it's coming from a position of fear, we got to clear the decks. We have to start maybe creating lists and realigning again, and making sure that we're making our decisions and that we're persevering.
Beautiful. I really love your approach, because for me, that's holistic. Oh, I'm going to say that again because maybe my sound got lost. I really love your whole approach, Hilda, because it's very holistic. You know,
it definitely is. And of course, we don't have time to go into all the details of everything, but that's where the word whole comes, you know, to make sure that we're looking at the entire person and that we're not just looking. A lot of people think spirit, you know, body, mind, spirit, or however you want to put it. I think that if we get our body biochemistry aligned, often the mind and the spirit follow too.
Well, I think all of us on this call would agree that if we feel well and we feel healthy, it's easier to stay alive.
Right.
I loved those points, Hilda, and I hope that everybody wrote down some of those key words. So who's next? And we're going to hear from Hilda again when she comes back and tells us what she gets out of each one of us speaking. Because so then you can use her brain as well as to how she hears other people say what, and maybe there's some things that she's going to be taking away from us all. So Regina is our content marketing strategist today. So Regina, can you tell us 3 things that you know that we can take away today and create something better for ourselves?
So I have a slightly different approach today. I know that for these other lovely ladies here really talking about relationships and health and really how we can take care of ourselves, I'm going to take this a slight twist because I'm really into content marketing, and I know a lot of you use social media. So I really take a lot of the personal inner stuff and a lot of what everyone else is talking about into my work. So my main theme today is you just need one. And my 3 strategies are one voice, one person, and one topic. And then, so what I do is I help people find their voice online and really create their presence by really starting with a strategy. So whether that's your blogs, your videos, and your podcast, it's really being able to get in touch with who you are, being able to utilize social media, but building that foundation before you use other tools. Because let's face it, all these tools that you have can come and go, algorithms can change, but what's always going to stay the same is you. So going into my one voice, and this is my husband Mike and I, we were working online after we burnt out in the entertainment industry, and we learned the skills that we had to do. We knew logically what button to click, what to go where, what to do, how to talk to people. But one of the things that we didn't even realize is that our personal inner voices and how we spoke online, or just in general, were totally different. And we actually didn't realize that would psychologically affect the people that we talk to. But it does, it confused people. So it was so important for us to be able to create a collective voice when we were online, presenting ourselves online. And so the one voice that you would want to use is your voice. Who are you? If there are multiple people contributing content to your brand or your business, being able to create that collective voice so that it feels like your readers are talking to that one person. And really, how do you develop that voice? It's really knowing who you are inside. And a lot of us, I almost feel like we have to go back to learn who we are, even though we've always lived within inside ourselves. And so it's really knowing, figuring out what your values are and who you are to be able to create that conversation online that you would in person. And using your meaningful stories from from when you were younger, and so that people know how you got to where you got to today, so they know exactly who they're talking to. And using these meaningful stories to illustrate and illustrate them through your conversation. And my second topic is one person. When you are creating your content, you have your one voice, and you're going to be developing, or you're going to want to understand who that exact person you're talking to is. To be able to create a conversation online is to know exactly who you're talking to. So the way I write, the way I create videos, the way I do my audios, I feel like I'm actually talking to you. You are the person that I'm talking to, and I know exactly who you are. And it's almost like me talking directly to Di or to Hilda. It's just us in conversation, not me and the whole world. It just creates that personability. And my third strategy is focusing on one topic. Now, I've been in the process of rebranding myself from our brand Courageously Free just to Regina Paula. And we've, over the years, we've taught people so many things about, Facebook ads, blogging, podcasting, just all that kind of stuff. And I have so many things to talk about, but what is that one thing that I really want to convey? And I realized, well, what were my values, and how was I able to connect my values to what I really want to do, and what can I share? What are the skills and attributes that I have that I can combine with my values to give people what they want to hear? And so what was my voice? How did I want to use these skills and attributes to help others? So I kept searching and brainstorming, and it really came down to content. I actually love content because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm creative. And we work with a lot of people who really want to bring their business online and even themselves online because they have a voice to share. You have a voice to share somehow, to share to other people. And so we always start out like babies. Our attention spans are so short. Ooh, that's a pretty flower. Squirrel. I mean, really, just stop. Just stop for a second, take a step back, and really get focused on one topic. And it's really not that one topic for you to focus on, but it's really for the other person, your persona, to really understand you better. So, and a more technical bit to it, which is thriving online, is that you can use that one topic and spin it so many ways. And, because people hear you in different ways. So, if you have, if you're a functional doctor and you want to talk about health, inner health, and in your biology, you can do a video about it. You can do a podcast about it. You can transcribe that, put it into a book, because people hear things differently. They can hear you. People would rather listen to you. So maybe they'd rather see visual cues. Maybe they'd rather read their books or a book in the middle of the night after their husband's gone to sleep. You don't know. Then more people will understand you if you can give them the same information in so many different ways. And really, I'm giving you some technical information in this content marketing thing and bringing online. But part of the reason why I wanted to do it is because I have a super, super secret. It really comes to building a foundation within you and who you are, and bringing your personal values into what you're doing. Because it really, all five of us here talk about different things, but it all comes down to one thing. Everything comes full circle. And I'm not going to talk much about that now, but that's why you follow people like Di Downie and everyone else here, because this is some of the stuff that they talk about. And the paradox in this whole thing, you need just one, is that you can't be just one, because you really can't do it alone, but you need people to help you. So find your help, use tools, and find someone, an accountability partner that you can really have conversations with about things that you love. In my case, it's about content, but what is it that you love and that you want to thrive in?
Beautiful. Well put together. I love that. I really, really loved that. And I really got what you were saying about the one message, the one person, and then being able to redistribute the one piece of content. I love that. When I say content, it took me a while when I came online. I didn't even know what a browser was when I came online. I had no clue. That was 5 years ago. But now I know that a piece of content might be a blog, it might be a podcast, it might be one photo on a post, right, Regina? You know, yes, yeah. So loved it. Thank you very much. Who's next in our lucky dip? Jody Harmon from near San Francisco in California. Come on down and tell us what we could take away from you today.
All right. Well, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. Okay, so one of my favorites, I don't know if some of you follow Brené Brown, but she is a researcher in psychology and feelings and emotions and shame and worthiness and belonging. And she has this quote that I just want to read to you because I feel like it encompasses so much of this thrive topic that we're talking about. And so Brené Brown's quote says, "One of the greatest barriers to connection is the cultural importance we place on going it alone. Somehow we've come to equate the success with not needing anyone at all. Many of us are willing to extend a helping hand, but we're reluctant to reach out for help when we need it ourselves. It's as if we've divided the world into those who offer help and those who need help. The truth is that we are all both. You are imperfect and you are wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging." And so one of the reasons that I love this quote is that too often, at least, I don't know where I learned it. Maybe I learned it from my mom. Maybe I learned it, because my parents were divorced and I had to help so much with the family that we're women and we do it all and we're strong and we just have to do everything, right? And we wear all of these different hats. So if you're a woman, right, and you have a business or you work, then that means that you have all these hats. Like you have to be a mom, you have to be a housekeeper, a cook, a taxi cab driver, a businesswoman, everything else. Like you have to do everything. And sometimes, you know what? The deal is we don't have to do it alone. Like we can ask for help. You can ask your children for help. You can ask your spouse for help. You can ask your significant other for help. You can ask employees for help. You can ask coworkers for help. Get a VA. Get some help at home. The thing is that we are worthy of asking for help. And I think too often as women, we put this stigma on ourselves that if I can't do it all, I'm not enough. And so, I just get emotional with this because I think there's just so many women who think that if they don't do everything that's required of them, that they're failures. And that's really sad. And there's a lot of women, at least in the women's groups that I help coach and I speak to often, is there's a lot of women with confidence, struggling in their confidence and struggling with anxiety and worry and depression. And a lot of this revolves around is thinking that you're not enough. And if you can just realize and take note of what you are doing and the things that are good about everything that you're doing, then you will see that you are worthy of love and belonging, not just in your family, but in your work life and with your friends and in this world that we are all striving to thrive to be in, that you are worthy to be here. And that's what I want you to know the most. The second part of this is that I think we need to embrace our femininity. And I know over the years, I think it was back, in the 60s and the 70s, there's this big movement, this women's movement, women power, and we have to do it all, and we have to do this, and we have to do that. And I think that, women, because we've had to fight for our rights, we've had to go through this thing of like, I'm going to be manly, and I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to push down all of these feelings of femininity about myself. And the cool thing is that this femininity part of you is the most important parts that you have. And so, yes, you need to be strong and you need to be powerful, but we also need to bring back the feminine attributes that actually make us strong. And so don't think that you have to strive to be powerful just like men are. Women are different, and we need to embrace that and love that about ourselves. We are unique, we're caring, we're empathetic, we're soft, we're lovely, and we live our lives with our emotions. And that is something that, I'm sorry, men don't usually do. They're not wired that way. And that's okay. But that's what makes us worthy of love and attention. And so as you tune in more to your femininity, I want you to know that you need to tune into your intuition. And so oftentimes I think when we're trying to be strong and powerful out in the world, that we push our intuition kind of aside because we think that our emotions and our intuition, which is what women are so good at, we push those to the side and think that we can go it alone and do it alone. But the cool thing is that we really are creatures of emotions. And I think it's okay. And we shouldn't be ashamed if emotions come up. We shouldn't be ashamed if we lead from our heart and lead from our intuition, because that's what makes women special. That's what makes us powerful. And instead of thinking of emotions and our kindness and our nurturing, instead of thinking of that as faults that pull us down, we need to think of that is our power. These attributes of women actually give us power, and this power leads us to being incredible women that we are. It leads us to live with our hearts, to lead with our hearts. It allows us to raise children who are thriving adults and living in this world. And so as you are thinking more about your femininity and who you are and finding more about yourself, allow these attributes to come back out, because women have special gifts. We are soft, we are gentle, we are kind, we are nurturing, we are more compassionate, and we are natural lovers of life, people, and the world. And women need to be vulnerable, we need to be open, and we need to be able to create the bond, not just with our family, but with women all over the world. There's no competition. We need to use these attributes to become powerful within ourselves and pull other women up with us so that they can shine as well. And so a couple things that I want to talk about is I'm going to give you 5 key tips to use to bring your femininity back and know that you're worthy of love and belonging in this world. And so the number 1 is I want you to trust your intuition. And the way that you can do that is, so to live from your heart and to trust your intuition is I actually want you to notice and be in tune with what's going on in your body, and notice that you're actually, so one of the first things that you do is notice that something's not right. Use that intuition to go, something's not right. I need to change something. What is it? So the first one is to just take notice of what's going on around you, what's going on inside of you, what's going around with people around you. The second one is to pay attention to how you're feeling. And that can be like physically, emotionally, mentally. Pay attention to actually what's going on within you so that you can pay more attention to your intuition and grab your power that's in you. Mm-hmm. This one is a big one for me, and I know it's a big one for a lot of women out there, is this little mind chatter that we have going on in our minds, is that sometimes we let this chatter get out of control and we let it rule us. And what I mean by that is we let it start making us worry, we get frustrated, we get anxious, and it blocks your intuition from coming in and having your power. And so one of the best ways that I've found to get control of this mind chatter that kind of seems to take over our lives is to actually like keep a little notebook handy with you and take notes. Like, sometimes the stuff that's going through our heads, we forget things because there's so much going on. So if you can keep a little notebook handy, I actually have one right here in my notebook, even though I'm out and traveling, I still have one with me. So if I think of something, I can write it down and reference it later. And that helps that mind chatter of feeling scattered, feeling disconnected with myself and with my brain. Mm-hmm. The fourth one is, The fourth one is that if you are having a hard time getting connected with yourself and not really sure of what's going on, and maybe you're feeling anxious and worried and frustrated and don't have anybody to turn to, I actually want you to do something silly. So that can be like shaking your head, that can be jumping up and down, doing something physical with your body. I actually like want you to do something, tickle yourself, tickle somebody else, like do something silly, because what that does is that brings you back into feeling in your body. It helps you feel sensations. It helps you pay attention to what's going on in your mind and in your heart. And it also helps this mind chatter that's going on. You can actually just bring yourself back into your intuition to allow yourself to then feel your heart and your emotions again. So that's one way of doing it. It's just be silly. And I know it sounds silly, but it really works. So just try it next time you're feeling disconnected from yourself. Do something silly. And if you need to, go find a quiet place to do it. But it really works. Even if you just like a little kid, and just shake it out. Like, toddlers throw fits because they are out of control. Sometimes you need to throw a fit to get yourself back into control as well. So just try it. And then the fifth one, which I think is one of the most important ones that I think we don't do often enough, is we actually need to reach out for help. And with that, I mean, because in Brene Brown's quote, remember she said that the world is divided by those who ask for help and those who do not. But we are all both. And I think as women, we feel like we have to do it alone. And guess what? You don't have to do it alone. We're here to help and support and love one another. And so talk to a friend, talk to someone you love and you trust. But remember, you don't have to do it alone. And, just following those 5 simple rules can actually bring you back in and help you feel love, connection, caring, bringing this womanly power that we have back into fruition in your own lives. So take control of yourself, take control of your emotions, use those for good, and let's change the world.
Beautiful. Love the 5 tips, Jody. Thank you very much. It was awesome.
You're welcome.
Yes, I hope that people wrote those 5 tips down and can take them away and keep them in the forefront of their mind. Awesome. So now we're going to move on to Hamsa, who is awake. It's 5:30.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Hilda, and thank you, Regina, and also Judy. I think I would like to start from where Judy said something. She said, we're not here to do it alone. Definitely, I do agree that we are not here to do it alone, because I so much believe in interdependency. We are here interdependent. And when I say here interdependent, I need Judy, and I need Di, and I need Hilda, and I need Regina, because we are in one circle. And when I say in one circle, it is up to us to realize, to be aware now in this stage, who do I need from these, from all these specializations, from all these fields, to let's say not complete me, but like to help me, to empower me in whatever stage or level that I want to have. Now, speaking about my strategies, my 3 strategies, I would say I've started with grit. Okay, when I say grit, it's passion and perseverance. Okay, and maybe I focused a lot on the passion. I focused a lot on the talent and on the skills, you know, when I first started my career. And it was really amazing, and it was like booming for me. And but what happens after a couple of years, as human beings, it's very natural. We feel very tired and we feel alone. So I again started like searching what's next, what am I supposed to do next. The thing is, I was thinking about number 2, which is the system. Am I supposed to have a good system? Then it was a tick. Yes, I have to have a good system. I have to have, and when I say a good system, I mean to follow or like or to choose a model that I very much trust. And when I say a system, I can say, like, you can say websites, social media, everything, even from the people who are working with you. But keep both of these aside, which is grit and which is the system. And I would say that 2017 and 2018 for me, I have added something which is very, very, very important, and which is self-consciousness. This is the being that I was talking about. You know, when you asked me why I'm talking about, always start with the being, because definitely the key is here. Without the being, without me being conscious about my emotions and about my thoughts and about how does my mind work, I'll be tired. I cannot walk. I cannot move. I cannot have ideas. I cannot have the energy. And especially as all of us, we work with people. For me, I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. So I work with a lot of different energies, with a lot of different people. And I have to understand who I am. I have to understand what's my energy. And I have to learn how to maintain this energy and how to grow it also. So this is one of the things that I learned, and it completed my circle. I can say it completed my circle. So it is self-consciousness, and when I say also self-consciousness, I must put intentions. Learning how to set the intention, like even when coming to a forum or like this one, for example, always learn to set the intention. What is my intention for being here? You know, it is very, very important, because it helped me convey whatever I want to in a very honest way, in a very authentic way. And it helped me also to be in alignment with my values, with my highest values, with my life purpose, with my universal message. Each time I'm speaking, each time I'm having a session with my client. And when did I realize that I needed the being? It's when I started coaching corporates and coaching employees here, where maybe like it's very draining, you know, like working with different employees who did not choose to come to you. You know, this is number 1. And number 2 is like, you know, when you have to report to the organization, it's different when individuals come to you just for themselves. Like there's no one that you have to report to, right? So it doesn't have this stress part. But since the past 2 years, I've learned how to be resilient, you know, and I've learned how to be at peace inside me, internally. I've learned how to make this beautiful like alignment, and I'm sure I'm still learning, because life continues to surprise me. It's like whenever we think we know, at a later stage we realize that we didn't know anything, you know. And this is like one of the things that I was like very surprised to realize it, you know, comparing myself now and comparing myself like, let's say 2011 or before that. So this is the strategy that I'm using now, and I see it's perfect now. Like if we have another forum, maybe like next year or the year after, I'm sure things change. Things maybe will be added, maybe things will be omitted. But for the time being, it is self-consciousness, it is the grit, and it is a good system. Yeah.
Great points. Very clear. Yes. System, grit, and perseverance. Just, yeah, I love that. Yeah. Thank you very much, Hamsa.
You're welcome.
Oh, here I am. And I have 3 strategies that I want to share. And I use, playing on my name, Di Downie, I use the 3 Ds. And so that helps me to keep aligned, and it's to share where I've come from, where I am now, and where I'm going. And so my 3 Ds that I want to share with you today is like, define your ideas. Like everybody's spoken about, the ideas, the things that go around in our head as in negative thoughts, lots of opportunities, lots of suggestions in our mind, past thoughts. Like sort out those ideas and those conversations that you have with yourself into pictures. So define your ideas, define what's in your mind with pictures, because that's actually how our mind works. We see things in pictures, we hear things, but the way that our mind comes up with solution is that we are able to define our ideas if we translate what we just felt or heard or saw into a picture. So for instance, brings me to the second point of development, is we need to develop those ideas. And we develop those ideas by having 2 very, very clear pictures in our mind of where we're going. One for our personal life and one for our business life, so that can actually be aligned. And I call this, in my world and in my methodology, 2 visions. That's simple. And so having 2 pictures in your mind about where you're going for your business, work life, job life, however you earn your money, be really clear about what's in your mind, about what you do and what you give. And then the other vision is for you personally. What do you want to receive? So ask yourself, what do you want to give and what do you want to receive? And then just grab 2 pictures, even though you may not be, let's say Hilda is in a very, Hilda's in a business, and so she sees herself sitting with her clients, her patients every day. Hilda, get a picture, get someone to take a photo of you sitting with your clients. Then get a picture of what is it that you give to your clients. It's health, it's regeneration, it's aliveness, it's a bigger sense of vibration. That's what you give. So what is that picture that you have in your mind that you give to those people? And then for your personal vision, Hilda, what do you want? For me, my personal vision is I want to be traveling around the globe in the way that I want to travel with my husband. So he's a bike rider. So in my mind, and I have pictures of this, I have pictures of him riding his bike and then us meeting in different places on the planet. I go and speak, I might run a workshop, whatever that is, but I have those pictures on my phone, in my computer, in my brain. So that's actually directing my mind. And that takes me to the 3rd D. It's like, how do you direct yourself? So you direct yourself by placing pictures in your mind, rather than just assuming that you've heard something. It's time we stopped assuming, and it's time we started to give our minds clear pictures. So the way we direct ourselves is a concept that the forces use, the Army, the Navy, and I learned it through my studies with Buckminster Fuller 30 years ago. It's called ballistics. So look that up, write that down, BALLISTICS. I think it's something like that. So look it up and find out what it means. How I use ballistics, and in a very simple form, and how the forces use it, is the forces, for instance, in the Army, they will not go forward until they have figured out what just happened and then everything that happened before. They will not make a decision before to move forward in any way. So let's break that down. What that means in a business, or for us personally as women in marriages, doing our life, getting clear, learning to do what we love to do, because most of us don't have a clue what we love to do because we're so busy looking after so many other people, is take some time and ask somebody for help, get a good mentor, and figure out where you have come from. So what is your history? What are your stories? What are those, what's called flex points in your life that started to change your values and what you needed personally? Because like I know that I'm going to use Hilda as another example here. The reason that Hilda is so particular and so passionate about what she gives to her clients is because she's able to really embody what has happened in her life. She's been able to really embrace her pain. So when people hear her, she's real, man. She's like right there with you. She's not stuck in something that her husband said 2 days ago or a mother said 40 years ago. She's right there. And then, of course, she has the skills on top of that. The skills are just skills. But it's her passion and it's her knowingness that she's on purpose. And the reason that she got there, and now that she can direct herself, is because in my world, in my methodology, is that she actually knows how to direct herself from where she has come from. So take away from me and write these down. You have to be able to define your ideas into pictures, then develop them into 2 visions, and then direct yourself with ballistics. So that's my thing on thriving and my tips for today. But what I want to do now, because we're running on time, it's like we've been here for an hour, but I'm really conscious about people's timing, and we're all over the world, so it's different times for everybody. Can we now just share, and anybody just share, what is it, or the 5 speakers, there's too many online to everybody to chime in, but please put in the chat, what did you get from this past hour? For me, I don't want you to waste this hour. I want this hour to be the most valuable hour in your whole week. Really. So what is it that you can take away, and what is it that you're going to use this week? Okay, so let's open it up. What's my next slide? Let me go here. Let me just click here. There we go. Oh, there's all of us. Okay. Okay. Who wants to go first and share what is your takeaway from this hour? Hilda, please come on. Unmute yourself.
All right. First of all, this has been amazing. I am so happy to be part of this forum, and it's like an hour. Oh, too bad it went so fast. I don't even think, for me it felt like 5 minutes. But I love listening to each one of all of you. Of course, Dee, Regina, Jody, Hamsa, and I'm not going to go back to repeat what each person has said, but there was a common thread, and I heard it from different people. And by the way, Regina, your outline over the top, thank you so much. I took so many notes, and I already have a diagram on everything that you talked about. So that was amazing. But there was the common thread, and I heard the word authentic several times in at least 3 or 4 of us. And it's very interesting, because it doesn't matter the background that we're coming from, there seems to be a common value. Somebody was talking about values and how important it is to get our values. So I heard that word authentic a couple of times. And then Dee, I just want to thank you, because that visual of the ballistic is going to go a long ways, because sometimes truly a strategy, when I think of ballistic, I think that we have to have intention, which was another common conversation here tonight. You have to have intention, you have to have strategy, and you have to be willing to fight for what you believe in. So for me, it's been an honor being here tonight, and I didn't get to share my story, but what Dee was trying to refer to is that a lot of the reason of why I really truly love what I do is because there was a time that I was gaining weight and it was out of control. I could literally not get out of bed. My husband had to physically carry me to get out of bed, and I couldn't get help from. So that is what Dee was referring to, that I have a past, I've embraced the pain, and as a result of that pain, a beautiful system has been born that I've been able to use to help lots of people. But anyway, thank you for having me here tonight. It's truly been an honor.
Hilda, it's an honor having you, really. Thank you. And I just love it how people, and you did it beautifully, Hilda, just encompass what was just said in the last hour. And I think that's so valuable for other people, because it just shows how different we are. It's awesome. Who else wants to share?
I'd like to share. This is Regina. I love the Hilda that you picked up one of the underlying values from all of us speaking, and because I picked something up too that all of us talked about, and that is you can't do it alone, that you need the help around you. And I thought that was very powerful because that's one thing that I've been saying to myself lately and hearing from my mentor, and it's been, yeah, and it's so true because life is so much easier when people are helping you, when you have the right tools, when you're around the right people who say the things that you want to hear, who are the people that you want to be like, or who are going towards the same direction that you are, which is, I guess, somewhat similar to direction and ballistics and having intention. It's all, you know, one and the same. And I like how everything is connected. We're all from different parts of the world. We're all from different industries, but there are these underlying values that really develop you. It's all one and the same. We're all one. And I love hearing it from all of you. Di, Hilda, Hamsa, Jody. It's amazing. And thank you for having me on this panel. I'm really happy.
I loved having you here, Regina. And your presentation, I have to say, was really super clear. I loved it. Thank you very much. Really loved it.
Can I?
Yes,
add
please.
something?
Yes, please.
Yeah. The nicest thing, as each and everyone said here, is that all of us, we've been agreeing on almost everything, you know, almost everything, but in a different way of saying it. And from Di, I'm going to take with me, like, defining your ideas through pictures. The way how you explained it was really, it's a reminder for us. Sometimes there are information that we know, but we tend to forget about it. So thank you so much for bringing this up. And I liked Hilda also when she said, reconnect with the why. I so much resonate with the word connect. I so much, actually it's one of my strength strategies is connection. And later in my life, I've realized how much I like connecting everything. That's why when I said, like, we are all connected in a circle. And one thing maybe I'd like to give whoever's with us today in the forum is to think in this circle, which one or which field, which specialization, which person he or she needs help from to start with. They need to complete the circle. We need all of us to complete the circle, like not to focus on one thing. Like, for example, not to only focus on the body. You know, this is what I've noticed. Like when we say, like, do you love yourself? And they go, yes, I love myself. I accept myself. And they only concentrate on the body. But it's not that. The balance, it's the body, the mind, and definitely the soul. So how are we feeding all these three? And also, Regina, she said, creating presence through using a strategy. Definitely, I'm with her because systems come here, you know, to be heard and to be seen in the authentic way, as Hilda said. This is another word that I so much love, and it resonates with me a lot. So if I have this system, if I am present in the right way, then I will be heard and seen. I will be going with the flow. I will not need to struggle, you know. And also, Jody, she said, we are worthy of love and belonging. I mean, I just love this. I so much love this, you know, and I think all of us, we should ask ourselves, number one, are we truly loving ourselves? And are we truly having the sense of belonging and accepting ourselves? To come with a beginner's mind, because I've noticed even myself, like sometimes we think we do love ourselves, we think that we accept ourselves, but if we ask ourselves this question, which is a very thought-provoking, a powerful question, do I truly love myself and accept myself? And the second question is, how am I loving myself and accepting myself? This is going to take me to a deeper level to knowing myself. So I think I'm taking so many things here. You know, I'm not really sure I'm going to sleep now. It's at 6 a.m., but I'm very much like excited. I have all the energy from you guys. Thank you so much.
To wrap up, Hamsa, thank you very much. And yes, I hope you are excited that you're not going to go to sleep.
Is it okay if I say something?
Is that Jody? Jody, can you come in?
Jacinta or Duffy.
Jacinta, can we just go and hear from Jody?
Okay.
Thank you. Jody's still there? Jody, has Jody gone? While we just wait, Jacinta, just come in for a quick second. Jacinta's from Perth, Western Australia. She is part of my mentoring program. I've known her for a very, very long time. So Jacinta, yes, can you just, love to hear from you.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to everyone. I got lots and lots, but to be brief, I felt from everyone the feminine, the power of women, and several things that Jody said I got choked up with too, because just that reminder that our emotions and our intuition are gold. I love being feminine, and I don't, sometimes I feel like I'm tempted to give up part of that to be successful or to be out in the world and deal. I've had lots of things to deal with, and it was just a great reminder, and I got that from everyone as well, but Jody really spoke it clearly. Thanks.
Beautiful, thank you. Has Jody gone? Can we see if Jody's gone or?
Yeah, I don't see her on there. She must have left.
She was on her phone, so she might have dropped out. So unfortunately, we can't hear from Jody, but maybe when we send the replay out, we can, I don't know, maybe have Jody do a video or write something or whatever. So, but what I got out of it, her back in. No. What I got out of today was, I want to pick up on what Hamsa said, is, we're so busy doing sometimes that we for me, I have to remind myself that I'm a human being. I'm not a human doing, I'm a human being. And I think for me, it's taken me many years to remind myself. I don't need to remind myself so often, but hey, I'm not 40, I'm not even 50 any longer. So thank goodness I've got it before I, cark it. But I just think that I really thought that was a really important point, Hamsa. And I think, like Hilda said, well, we all said, actually, we all are very much aligned. And as Jacinta said, we are all saying very, very similar things in that we cannot do this together. And it's not easy sometimes, but to be able to have somebody to be a sounding board, ask for help, get out of our own way, and be able to just take that one step forward. I think we really need just to be proud of ourselves that we are taking those one step forward to be able to do what we want to do and do what we love, and then show our passion and then be on purpose. It's like, it's a little tiny step, little bit by little bit. So I think we're going to end it, because I really don't, I'd love to be here all day. It's so cool. But people have lives. It's day and night all over the place. Hamsons, you're probably not going to go to sleep. And I hope Jody and Hilda, you're going to go and have your dinner, because I'm sure you haven't had your dinner. So write in the event page, what you got out of here. And you will hear from us. We will send you the replay. There is a replay. If there's certain things that you want to go back and listen to it again, share the video, share it for who you love. So thank you for being a part of International Women's Day, our like little tiny contribution to, I suppose from my point of view anyway, share what we all want to say and how we want to help other people. So let's just wrap it up by just saying see you later from all of us. And just maybe one last comment. What do you want to say? And say, see you later.
Well, I'll just say something. See you later. But I want everybody to know that we are so grateful to have you in our life, because yes, this was a group of amazing women, but there was one common denominator here, and it was you. So thank you for putting this together. Thank you for inviting us. And we do need each other. And you, look what you've created here. I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Hilda. And see you later. Regina, got anything to say before you go?
I just wanted to say thank you, and I have a lot of gratitude for you as well, and for all you other lovely ladies and you men and women out here to see us. So have a wonderful day, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. So blessed to have you here. Hamsa, please tell me.
Yeah, me too. I'm sending lots of gratitude to each and every participant on today's online forum. Thank you so much for the speakers. It's an honor and pleasure also, to meet you from different angles of the globe. And thank you, Di, for making this possible. I'm very much honored, and I'm very, very much grateful and sleepy.
Even if you had to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning.
No, I had a lot of fun with you. So very grateful. Thank you so much for this hour.
Beautiful. And I think that I'm sad actually that Jody has disappeared. She's not on her phone.
Yeah.
She's able to come back. Before we go, Regina, is there a way of collecting the comments so that we can see what people were maybe asking or what they were commenting? Because I think when we close this Zoom down, we lose the comments. Is that right?
Actually, the recording saves the comments automatically. However, I actually just saved that on my local drive as you were saying that.
That's
so
cool. We're on the same wavelength. So cool. Okay, let's wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for being here. We have had, I think, about 60 people on the call. That's very, very cool. You will all receive, if you've gone through the registration, the replay, and that you also receive some other little tips, I suppose, if we go through, and I don't know, we'll add some more value to you. Just wait for the surprise. So see you later, everybody. Keep in touch, love each other, and have an amazing day, an amazing night, and an amazing year. And let's hope that we see you soon. Bye for now.